What's up, everybody? Welcome to Q-Niche Sports. Let's talk sports, NBA daily fantasy. This is round 3. I'm about to select my lineup for today. The lineups need to begin by 6 p.m. Central Time because the games are starting tonight. It's Friday, lots of games going on. So I'm going to give you the live, unfiltered version of me going into here and selecting these lineups. Of course, I'll have to edit the video a little bit to cut out some dead space, but this is me doing this thing live, no thought process. I've been busy, man. I've been out with my wife. We just had our anniversary in New Orleans and it was great. Now I'm back here in Memphis, Tennessee. We're about to watch some games tonight, have a good time. But before we do that, we got to make these lineups. So stay tuned. We're going to dive right in. All right. So here we are at Yahoo Sports. This is where I like to go to do all of my sports betting and all of my daily fantasy from NFL to NBA to NHL to MLB to soccer to golf. Whatever I use Yahoo Sports for it. So let's jump into the NBA screen to see what daily fantasy lineups we can choose from the games that are coming out tonight. All right. Here we are inside of my NBA Yahoo Cup free 25 round league. Okay, we're in round 3. Looks like I have a total of 457.5 points, which is good for 12,210th place out of the 26,887 participants in this contest. So looks like we need to do a little bit better, I would say, this week so that we can get somewhere in the upwards of 200 and 300 points so that we can catch up with the rest of the competition in this contest and try to get into the top 1,000 and things like that so we can win some money. Or we could just win this week and we'd be happy to just winning a week because winning in a week also gives you a prize. So let's dive right in. What I'm going to do, I'm going to start in my UTIL, utility. I gotta figure out what that means. I think it means utility, but we're going to start in that category. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this by fantasy points per game. Looking at fantasy points per game, and then looking at the salaries of the guys who have the highest fantasy points per game. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys that's getting 50 points or more per game. If you want to put LeBron James in there, then that also could categorize as a guy that's getting 50 or more points, fantasy points per game. Now, we're looking at the dollar amounts. Looks like Pascal Siakam, Jason Tatum, and James Harden are the guys who are the least expensive for getting the most amount of fantasy points per game. Now, looking at matchups, we got Philadelphia versus Toronto, and then we got Cleveland and Boston, and then we got, Toronto and Philadelphia. So Philly, Toronto, trying to figure things out, trying to get things going this season. We got Boston going against Cleveland. Cleveland's playing well. So, it's kind of tough. So let's just look here. If we're going to look at something that we like to look at is point spreads and over-unders. So if we're going to look at the Cleveland-Boston game, there's a 218-point game total with a 6.5 point favorite in Boston, meaning they'll win the game by 7 points or more. Then we got Philly and Toronto, 213 points, so it's a lower scoring game, and they think it's going to be a close one with Toronto winning by about 3 points. So, those are kind of iffy. I think I would probably want to go more so with the Jason Tatum on this situation. That's because he's predicted to have a higher scoring game than the Philly and Toronto game. I trust Jason Tatum a lot more. He's an Olympian. You know what I'm saying? He's been to the finals. He's in the running for probably being MVP this season. So let's go with Jason Tatum tonight at our UTIL position. So hopefully that makes sense. I looked at the highest point guy, the least amount of salary for him, and I threw him in my UTIL. I'm going to move on from there, and I'm going to go start to point guard, shooting guard, and keep going. So looking at guards, highest paid available, look like we're going, 45 points or more, cheap, $31 for Terry Rozier, who apparently is out. See, that would have been a great pickup, but he's out. So now we got to pivot. We got to see, okay, well, who would be better? What about Trae Young, right? Trae Young for $42. Well, he'll get you about 47 fantasy points. Do you really want to pay that much for that? So then you kind of got to come down here. You got to think, all right, what's going on? Who's injured? Who's out? Blah, 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 blah. All right. So it looks like we got 2 injuries in Charlotte, right? In the front court. And that's going to be a 220-point game. It's going to be a high scoring game. They're going against Orlando, 2 young teams. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of points going to be scored. Maybe not a lot of defense going to be played. So that may be a game you want to pick from. Then we got these other games. We got the Lakers in Minnesota. That's a high score, 231. Chicago and San Antonio, 231. I don't know about that. That may be a little bit more low scoring than that. Utah and Denver. So we got some high scores here. So we can think about that. Personally, I like the idea of picking someone in the guard position from the Charlotte Orlando game. And so let's just see who's there, who's available. You got these 2 guys being injured for Charlotte, right? So you gotta have somebody in Charlotte doing something. So I'm looking at Dennis Smith Jr. I'm looking at Theo Meldon. I mean, James Booknight. These guys are gonna have to step up, right? With Rozier being out. So they're saying Dennis Smith Jr. has started in Rozier's place over the past 2 contests and has combined 32 points, 17 assists, 5 rebounds, and 5 steals in their stretch. So over 2 games, Dennis Smith Jr., what has he done? The 2 games he's started, where he's played the 30-plus minutes, he's gotten us 39 fantasy points each game. He's only $18. Bow. That's how you do that. You just found a steal. He's playing on a team that has 2 injuries tonight. He's playing against Orlando. They're not going to play a lot of defense. Dennis Smith Jr. is going to have a good game. He doesn't owe it, but really, he's going to have a good game. That's what that looks like to me. All right. Let's go forward. What are our forward options? Let's go back to all 11 games. We're running out of time here. We only got 30 minutes left because we got to get this lineup in before 6 o'clock. So we got to move quick. We got to move fast. All right, here we go. Looking at here. Fantasy points per game. I mean, is it Paolo Banchero? I'll probably butcher his name. I'm not really sure how to say it exactly, but $30. He's a rookie, yeah. So yeah, people may be thinking he's this consistent. That's why they're not putting. But look, the guy had 50 fantasy points last game, and you paid $30 for that. I mean, he's been having at least 20 points per game since the season started. You think he's going to not have 20 points against Charlotte? Boom. All right. Now we got our forward, we got our guard, we got our util. What about our center? Center is also another tricky position, right? Nikola Jokic, right? That's who you would want to pick for $56, though. That's going to kill my budget. I only have $110 left. So we got to think about this, and we got to say, hold on, wait a minute, can't pick him. Remember, we were talking about Pascal Siakam. He's getting you a pretty 50 points for $41. That's pretty freaking good, especially at your center position. So for a center, though, that's pretty expensive. If you look at centers, the top 3 guys, $40 and above. Everybody else is 30s and below, right? So this is one of those things where you have to think about, well, what's worth it? Like, most centers are getting you 30 points. Do I want to pay $41 for a possible 50? When he could potentially not do that well? I mean, let's see. Is he hurt? Is any injuries? No. He's averaging 25, 9, and 8 to start the season. As a center, that's pretty ridiculous. I mean, look at this. At least 20 points in every game. He's going against Philadelphia. That's a bigger lineup. So I don't know. Does he have a struggle tonight? Has he went up against a bigger lineup yet? He has. He went up against Jared Allen, first game of the season. They won that game. He had 23 points, 11 boards. He didn't have as many assists there, right? He's not really getting a lot of blocks in every game, right? He's averaging less than a block a game. Turnovers are not horrible, but he was prone to turn it over at least 3 times a game. So, I mean, you're looking at these things, you're looking at his stats, and you're like, $41. I could probably use that $41 a little bit better. Let me think about a different center. So then now you're looking at Lakers and Rudy Gobert, right? Going against the Lakers. Do the Lakers have a body that can that can keep up with my guy Rudy, like 10 points. That's he can't have 10 points. He's got to have more than that. Like, he's got to put on one of these 23 and 16 games against the Lakers tonight, right? He's got to show us why we want to pay $33 for him. I mean, 50, 41, 36, then he dropped off and had a couple subpar games, if you ask me. So looking for a big game against the Lakers tonight. Who do the Lakers have on their roster that's going to hold Rudy Gobert? So let's just look at this. Let's go over here to the Lakers game. They think it's going to be a high point total of 231. We'll see. We're looking at the centers in that game. Every other center in that game is $10. Okay? Every other one. Every other center in that game is not even averaging over 20 fantasy points per game. So this would be the guy that you want to pick in your center position because he should show out against a team that has no one, absolutely no one who can hold him. Right? Right. Okay. Let's just hope that he doesn't prove us wrong. All right. Now, let's look at your starting point guard. All games. All right. Time. We're looking good on time. We got 24 minutes. Let's do this. All right. So, Trae Young, highest salary guy in the point guard position tonight, right? Fantasy points per game, Trae Young's the highest scorer, followed by Tyrese Halliburton. We know that Damian Lillard is injured. So that's a key note, right? Damian Lillard being injured means someone has to start in his spot. Let's look at Portland's game tonight. They're going against Houston, 222 points. They're going against Houston, traditionally not doing very well since James Harden left. How are they going to play? Let's see. This could be an up in the air game. Portland is favorited by 4.5 points, meaning they should win by 5. 222 total. So let's see here. When you're looking at Portland, they have no one else in the point guard position, right? So you got to go to shooting guard to even pick who you're going to have in place of Damian Lillard, which of course would be Anthony Simmons, I believe. Anthony Simmons is getting clocked, okay? A lot of clock. Damian Lillard is hurt. He was getting this clock with Damian Lillard actually playing for a little bit. Yo, that's who you're going with for your shooting guard. All right, we got 1, 2, 3 more positions to pick. We got $55 to do that. Yahoo says we have an average of $18 to use to get this done. Let's get this done. So, going back to point guards, now that we've established who our shooting guard for the night is going to be. And I'm not thinking that's a bad choice either. When I look at shooting guards, I look at all games, look at fantasy points per game. I'm going to get 26.1. No, I'm not. I'm going to get way more than 26.1, right? I'm going to get somewhere in the area of I'm going to get more than is what I'm trying to say. I'm going to get, if you look at Anthony again, like look at his game log, they're giving it a deviation of plus or minus 12. So I'm saying with Damian Lillard out, it's going to be 26 plus 12. I'm going to get 38.3 fantasy points. That's my projection, personally. That's what I believe will happen. Because this guy is not have anybody in the way to tell him anything otherwise. All right, so looking at I could have picked some other guys. Devin Booker's playing tonight. That could have been a good pick over him, but we're trying to budget this thing, correct? All right, so let's look at point guards. So point guards, if we're going to look at fantasy points per game and salary wise, we're looking at Jalen Brunson, Fred Van Vliet. Okay, larger lineups over at Philadelphia. So I'm not necessarily messing with that for Fred Van Vliet. Milwaukee's also got a pretty much larger lineup on Jalen Brunson. So I don't know if I'm messing with that either. Let's look at his game log. I mean, he's really been showing out. He showed out in Charlotte, of course. Everybody's going to show out in Charlotte. They're probably giving up the most fantasy points per game. Probably. I don't know that for certain, but they probably are. Who's playing in Charlotte tonight again? Let's just so we can know. Orlando. Who's Orlando's point guard? Cole Anthony is hurt. Markel Fultz is hurt. So this Theo guy, he's the only guy, right? That's not hurt. Is he a starter? Let's see what his minutes look like. Nah, he can't be starting. So he wouldn't be the guy. So it would be some other guy that we would have to put in here that probably is a shooting registered as a shooting guard. So we can't use that. So moving on. Back to all games. Back to point guard. Man, this one's a little tough. I kind of want to come back to this. I don't want to spend too much money, but I don't want to spend too little money. You know, I want to spend the right amount here. D'Angelo Russell, this is an interesting one. Going against his old team, the Los Angeles Lakers, this might be the actual pick that we need to make. Let's think about this. D'Angelo Russell, $25, going against the Lakers. Who are the Lakers going to have to hold him? Probably no one. My wife's calling. Give me 1 second.
No, not that area, but it's like a whole little Partyville type of ordeal going on. Partyville town going on.
I feel what you're saying. Yeah. I'm right now I'm actually trying to finish up this video. Um but
Okay.
but I appreciate you calling me and letting me know that there's a side of town for us to explore. All right, I love you. All right, so back to it. So small forward, power forward, point guard. We got to get these guys selected. I was looking at D'Angelo Russell for $25, and let's look at his game log. All right. Comes close to a double double. He had 25, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, a block, 2 steals against San Antonio. That's not bad against San Antonio, honestly. Um, Russell has reached the 20-point mark in 3 of his 4 outings this season, has dished out at least 6 assists in each of the past 3 appearances as well. His role on offense is yet to be completely clear since he shares the court with Karl-Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards, but it's safe to say he's been performing better than initially expected. Through 4 games, it's too small of a sample size to draw any definite conclusions. All right, so he's averaging 17, 4, 6, 1. 1. Too many turnovers. He's got to cut down on the turnovers. Now, they're playing against LeBron James, the Los Angeles Lakers, and some other guys tonight. It's going to be Patrick Beverly on him, uh, getting all in them, messing with them. Will he have a game where he has 6 points and 6 assists like he did at Oklahoma City? Can't see that. Man, he's not really having that great of a season. I see why he's $25. But the standard deviation on him, with it being 34.3 and a plus 11, that would be 45 points. If he just gives me the 34, I'll be happy. But if he gives me that 30, that 45, I'll be happier. I don't know. I think he'll have a good game against Lakers. Like, he's got that game circled on his schedule. All right, let's get into the small forward situation. See, and this is why it's tough, because the guys that score the most in the small forward position cost pretty. So this is where you have to get real creative, right? You got to go with like a Kelly Oubre going against Orlando, or like a Josh Hart going against Houston, right? You got to go with something like that. Gordon Hayward is a good one, but it's sort of risky. I mean, is he healthy? He's healthy so far. He's playing 30 plus minutes a game. He's putting up decent scoring numbers. Atlanta gave him some trouble. He's going against Orlando. Is Orlando going to give Gordon Hayward trouble? This game is supposed to be 220 total. I don't know about this. I mean, when he went against New York, he had 21. Went against New Orleans, he had 26. He had 20 in San Antonio. Why did he have 12 in Atlanta? Did they really give him that much trouble in Atlanta? And that's what I'm saying. Did that defense give him trouble? With Orlando's defense be similar to Atlanta's, where it gives him trouble, and he ends up having a game like this, and he only gives us 22 points? That's gonna suck, you know. So I don't know if I want to go with Gordon Hayward. We got Tobias Harris. You know, I mean, I want points. I want points. Chris Middleton is injured. I mean, this is a tough one. Mikal Bridges, Phoenix, going against New Orleans. I mean, going to have a good game. Like, let's too risky. You know, we need somebody sure in this position. Buddy Hield, what do you got for me? I mean, at these two games, like what happened there? You know what I'm saying? Like what happened there? What happens when you do that? Now they're going against Washington. First game they played against Washington, he had 16 points, 10 rebounds. That that's dope. You know what I'm saying? So he had a pretty good game. He's getting his 30 minutes. Like this game, he not feeling well. These other two games, he came back. He had these games. He went over 20 for the first time last game. Can he keep that up against Washington? Let's look at their game specifically. Buddy Hield versus Will Barton. That's going to be something to watch. Buddy Hield versus Will Barton. That's going to be entertaining. I think I'm going to take Buddy Hield tonight, but I almost want to take Will Barton just for the simple fact that that's going to be very entertaining. Very entertaining. That matchup is that is an entertaining matchup. Man, I'm stuck. He hadn't scored 20 points yet. That's not his. That's not his. That's not what they're asking Will to do on this team. They're not asking him to score 20. You know what I'm saying? They got Bradley Beal to do all the scoring, but they're asking him to contribute. Now, Buddy Hield, he's a scorer. So I'm gonna go with him. Now that leaves us with $9. So we don't have enough money to pick a power forward. And that's not gonna work. Right? That is not going to work. Jay Crowder's hurt. This is McDaniels guy. Jalen McDaniels plays for Charlotte. Gets about 20 minutes a game. So we gotta shave $1 somewhere. We got 10 minutes to get this lineup in. So we gotta shave $1 off of our lineup. So Buddy Hield is definitely not coming off. Let's see here. Let's take McDaniels and Hield off and Paolo. Let's go ahead and put him in outright here. Now this gives us some flexibility here at the small forward and forward position. So let's look at that. Jeremy Grant. Whoa, $19 going against Houston. Still. Especially with Damian Lillard being hurt. Like, you got to think about that. He's going to be asked to score more now that Damian Lillard is hurt. He's going to be asked to do a little bit more. He posted 16 shots per game his last two seasons in Detroit. It's averaging only 9.7. So about 10 shots here over here in Portland. Well, I'm betting that's going to increase to maybe 12 shots per game, maybe 13 shots per game now that Damian Lillard isn't playing. Maybe not. We'll see. Depends on how Simmons, I think it's Simons, plays. So we'll see. But I definitely am keeping him. Yeah, Anthony Simons, Jeremy Grant. combination. And now let's look at this small forward. It's got to be a $11 guy. Cedi Osman, Cleveland. I don't think that's a bad choice. They're going against Boston. This will be a tough matchup for them, but at the same time, it'll be a good matchup for the guy. It'll test him and see, what he's really made of. I like that as a pick. Other than that, I mean, Eric Gordon. You're gonna go with Eric Gordon, possibly. He's going against Portland. He might have a big game. I mean, you never know. He might post some big numbers here. Like score. This guy he's a veteran, and he's going to score. He's going to get his 30 minutes. He's going to get his 16 points, like straight up. So it is what it is there. You could go with Eric Gordon, or you could go with Cedi Osman. I mean, use your whole budget up. You could try to figure out if there's a sleeper, or something. You got Taylor Horton Tucker. That's a sleeper in Denver. You never know, but I don't have the budget for it. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with Cedi Osman, Cleveland, going against Boston. I mean, let's think about that. The defense, is it gonna bottle him up and he's not gonna have a good game? Maybe that's what you're gonna think, right? I mean, he's going against Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown not gonna let this guy go off, right? That's what you're gonna think. So you probably be weary of picking this guy. That's really what you're gonna think. That Jaylen Brown is gonna lock this guy up. So I'm probably gonna steer clear of that. I'm gonna go look at all my guys that I can pick. And yeah. The best bet is probably Eric Gordon. Like we were saying. I gotta do this quickly, guys. We're running out of time. Eric Gordon, Houston versus Portland. Yeah, that's the best bet. Save the changes. My lineup's in, guys. Lineup has been edited and it's in. So this is what we're going with. Too late to change it at this point. Like, we got 5 minutes before tip off. So D'Angelo Russell is our starting point guard. Anthony Simons is our starting shooting guard. Then coming in at the guard position, we have Dennis Smith Jr., Eric Gordon at our small forward, Paolo Banchero at our power forward, Jeremy Grant at our forward, Rudy Gobert at our center, and our utility is Jason Tatum. This is what we're going with. I think it's a good lineup. We'll find out if this is a good lineup or not. Thanks for watching QNet Sports. Let's talk sports. NBA Daily Fantasy round 3 of the 25 that I'm in. So let's see what happens.